Hey programmers, what is going on? I'm the Savage Coder, and this is, I don't know what episode. I'm just making this little generic opener that I can use to split up the email verification videos because it was so long. I'm going to release it as separate episodes. So with that, we're going to jump right back into the one that was before this one, wherever that was, and we'll continue from there. So let's get back to the code, but first, so now we need to send an email. So first thing that I want to do is I want to check out this email package, Fluent Email, and looks like there are a couple different renderers and email and mail providers. So we've got some decisions to make on how we want to use this. So this is interesting for dependency injection. That looks like a really cool way to do things. I don't think we were. Let's start without a renderer, or without a token replacement model. So without using a template, what this allows us to do is this allows you to create a template that's like dear at model.name, you are totally, and add some complement. And then you tell it the values for what to replace model.name would be Luke, and you are totally model.complement would equal awesome. So it would actually send the email and do the replacements of these two values to say, you know, dear Jeff, you are awesome. So we're going to start without that though, because it looks like you can do this just by with a hard-coded body. And then we'll do the renderer afterwards. So we can skip the renderer on the first go around. We do have to pick a mail provider. I've used Mailgun in the past and it was really cool, so we'll probably do that. And then sends email via SMTP server. So I think we could just use the Mailgun provider. So let's install this Mailgun package. Mailgun domain, Mailgun API key. Very cool. So fluent.mailgun, fluentemail.mailgun. Let's add that. So I'll go in, let's add that. Go to dependencies, manage NuGet packages, browse, and look for fluentemail.mailgun. Again, I've never used this, so looks like .NET Standard, so it'll work with .NET Core, and it includes the Fluent Email Core already. So let's install that. All right, beautiful. So we can close that now, and let's create a new method in here for we'll just call it a private void send email, and it will take in. Do we need the user ID? I'm thinking if we just send the GUID in the email, then we don't even have to know who the user is. We can look it up by that. So let's just do that. Let's just do a string, and we'll pass the verification data into this method to send an email. And so now I'll go back to the docs here. Well, first thing we have to do is go sign up for Mailgun. So let's do that. All right, so funny enough, I just clicked the sign up button, and the first step is to activate my account. I have to go to my email and click the link. Funny enough, that's what we're doing here. All right, so here we are at our Mailgun, and this has a bunch of interesting things you can do, but I just want to send an email, right? I want to get started. So let's view the documentation. Okay, we have a sending domain, which is a sandbox. I like that. That's perfect for what we need. And it's got logs and analytics, and if I click on it, oh look, C#. Domains are restricted to authorized recipients. We can send via SMTP or through an API. So with Mailgun, you can use their REST API and just send to their endpoint, and they'll send the email, or you can just use them as an SMTP, which is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So you can just plug these credentials in. So let's go back and look at our Fluent email, and if we wanted to use the SMTP version instead, looks like we just make an SMTP sender, send it an email. All right, that looks pretty easy. Looks like we'll just have to set up the, here you go. Default sender, new SMTP sender. I don't see where you put the server credentials though. Oh, here it is, right here. Add SMTP sender. All right, so that sounds good. Let's add this fluent email.smtp then to our NuGet. Or before I do that, let me just look at this Mailgun one. So if we want to make a Mailgun sender, we can give it our sandbox, which we have, right? That's this right here, this sandbox string of ours. I'm going to do something like that. And then an API key, which they sent me when I signed up. I got an email with an API key. And I can probably make more API keys in here. So that's pretty basic. And then send the email the regular Fluent way. All right, let's do that. Let's not do the SMTP method. And it looks like I don't even need their application or their documentation. So I'm just going to copy that code, and we're going to go into our send email, and I'm going to paste. And I'm going to replace this sandbox with our sandbox. And the API key, I actually don't want to share that with you. Sorry. But I'm going to go ahead and add, let's call it mail gun settings. And I'm just going to put in my API key. And I'll just say from user secrets. You can put yours in here if you want. And the rest of what I'm going to do is the same. I forgot a comma there. The rest of what I'm going to do is the same. I'm not going to show you my user secrets, so I am going to pause right now and do that. If you want to add your own to user secrets, just right-click your project and manage user secrets, and you can put them in there. Okay, so now we just need a class called mailgun settings that has an API key property. So where are my, here's my settings classes. So I'm just going to do an add class. We're going to call it mailgun settings. And it's just going to have a public string, oops, API key. Public string API key get set, and then back in startup where I have my other settings configured, I'm just going to add one more to read in my mailgun settings. So we need the name of the section, and then that's going to do mailgun settings. Okay, so I'm going to get the section called mailgun settings in my app settings, and once I have that section, I pass that in, and it will read the values in that section and assign them to mailgun settings in our I options that we need to inject. So let's inject. So I'm going to make another one of these, private read only mail gun settings, and bring in the alt enter using statements there. And this is going to be mail gun settings. And then I can add that with an alt enter and do add parameters. And this is wrong, actually. This needs to be an I options of mailgun settings. And we'll alt enter on the options. All of this is covered in another video on app settings. You can look for that. That's why I'm not really going over that here. You should know how to do that already. And this becomes dot value. So now I can grab my API key as mailgun settings dot API key. And email, if I do alt enter, you see I can use fluentemail.core and control KD, which should, oh, let's bring in alt enter on mailgun, fluentemail.mailgun, bring that using in. Control KD still doesn't work, but I think we could do something like that and something like that. Boom. So now we just want to send an email. So we're just going to do that and then that. And so we'll just make this, I don't know, verification at savagecell.com, not a real domain. And then 2, I think this has to be a specific, we'll just call this Cartman at southpark.com. And then the subject is going to be, I don't know, please click the link. And the body is just going to be an interpolated string, click to verify, and then in here we'll just put the verification data variable that we're passing into this method. So that's good. And then await email, send async. So this needs to be async. So let's change this to async task. And so when we call send email here with the verification data, we have to await that. And that's going to have to be .toString. Okay. I don't know why this fluent stuff isn't. That's a little better. Wait a minute. Oh. Okay. So I think that's it. All right, so there's obviously some bugs in that. It was getting a little long, and so I broke for the day right here. And I'm coming back. You can see I actually need a shave. But anyway, happy 4th of July, by the way, at the end of this video. And so there was some issues there with the link, so we're gonna have to figure out how to make the body of that email HTML and give the end user something to actually click on. So okay, let's get right back to it. So we left off here where we had created an email and said click to verify, but just are showing a GUID here. So that's not going to give anybody anything to actually click on. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to see if this has like a body type or anything like that. If here we go, plain text, maybe it already is HTML. We definitely could do things with templates, but I wanted to avoid that. So let's just see if it works this way with HTML in it. So I'm going to make an ahref tag, and I'm just going to hard code this to localhost. Well, let's put the whole http://localhost. Not sure which. Let's see. Let's bring our browser back here. And whoops, just closed it. Awesome. So let's just relaunch Chrome here. And then let's look up, what is that? Let's look up Fluent email for one. And then the other one I want to do is I want to run the UI, so we can grab the port off of that. So 44350, that's what I was after. So let's go back to our code, the API code that is, and let's just replace that. And we're going to make a page in there called verify email. And after the verify email, that's when we're going to want, so this is not going to work. See, this quote right here is going to close the string from this quote from the interpolation. So we need to escape this quote and escape this quote, and then back up that verification data. And so now that should print out properly. So we'll see if that works. So we'll need to make this verify email page that will read this this GUID that we're passing and that we stored in the database. So that looks good. All right. So at this point, I really don't know how much of this stuff. We wrote a lot of code here, a lot that may or may not work. So I know we're good up until this insert user async here. So let's put a breakpoint after that. Because I've rebooted here, let me check that my SQL Server is still running in services here. SQL, so it is not running, so let me start that. Okay, so now you see it's running here. And let's go ahead and open SQL Manager. That's going to take a few minutes to open. So we'll let that warm up and we'll start our API. Very, very cool. So let's go back to our UI, and there's a user management sign up. This is what we wanted. Well, there's my SQL. May as well connect there. And just get stored procs ready too. So this is where we are right here. All right. So we're going to put, if I can type, Eric Cartman. And the username is eCart. And the email is going to be, what did we say in our code? We're going to send it to this guy. So may as well make that match. And our password will just be password123 so we can remember it. And we'll just put anything in there. So let's see how far we get here. So we have all of our values coming through. Everything looks good there. And so we'll step in. We'll make our user sign up object and we'll post it to our API. So I'm just going to hit run here. And you can see we already added our user to the database. We can check that in the users table just by selecting the top 1000. And there is our Eric Cartman. Notice at the end, though, it does not have a GUID in its verification data. And its is confirmed is 0, just like we want. So everything is going as planned so far. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a new verification data GUID, something random. And we're going to try to update user ID 9 with verification data. So our user ID is coming back. We can verify that number 9 in the database right there. Looking good. So now let's try, and I'll step in here. We'll grab our database connection. We'll add our user and our verification data string. And we will call STP users update verification. So if that worked, we can re-execute this query. And now number 9 here still is confirmed 0, but we've added our verification data into the database. So that's working perfectly so far. So far, so good. So the next thing that I think is, oops, I did not want to do that. So let's set next statement. Oh, it won't let me. All right. Well, now so there's some kind of bug in Visual Studio. I don't know why with this particular project it doesn't let me reset my lines of code. You know, my reset doesn't let me set next statement. Doesn't let me set next statement to where I want to go, and then oh, now it did. Maybe if I do it twice. All right. Well, whatever it takes, right? So we're creating a new mailgun sender, setting it the default, and my verification data looks good. So if I look at my email body, data body, let's see if that link came out right. Oh, it's got a quote here. We don't actually want that quote. We want this quote on the beginning of the href, and we want one at the very, well, we're not even closing the A tag here. Yeah, that whole thing's messed up. So let's stop it there and fix that. Okay. So we said we wanted the href quote here. We don't want a quote here. But then after, that's the end of our whole thing. So what we want to do is after that, we want to close our quotes. Then we want to kind of complete our A tag. And let's move this click to verify text inside the A tag. And then we can close that back up. So our whole string is an A href with the quotes, you know, enclosing the link for the href. And then the rest of it is HTML. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to start again. And if I go back here, some of it's still filled out, but most of it is not. So I'm gonna actually go and delete that row from the database so we can do the whole thing again, because I don't need a million Eric Cartmans. So I'm just gonna edit and delete that row. Good. And now I can copy the email from the API. So I don't have to type, oops. So I don't have to type that. Password 123 and sign up again. This time I'm going to let it go. Here we are updating our verification data. So now we should have the user back in with the updated GUID link. We can quickly check that here. Now we're user ID 10, because even though we deleted 9, 9 is used. So there's our new verification data. And I did it again. Let's set next statement and step in this time. Okay, let's look at this email body this time. Data body. I always like to make sure that, yeah, that looks good. That looks perfect. All right, and then we're going to call send mail async. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. We can look at the response. There is an error. And the error says Mailgun Magnificent API. That's kind of funny. I don't see anything else other than an error message, and successful is false. So Mailgun Magnificent API. That's not a very helpful error. So we're going to have to figure it out. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Mailgun and see what we can learn there. Okay, we're in our Mailgun. We have 0 failed and 0 delivered, you see here. So we're not even hitting the right things yet, which is okay. We can look at that. We can look at logs and see if there's anything in there. Send an email to create your first log. So we have nothing now. We do have our domain, our sandbox. So let's go back here. It's not letting me go back. Let's go back here. Let's go to the dashboard. And I think we're going to view the documentation and looking at sending email. We used, what did we use? Did we use the API or did we use the Mailgun sender? So we used this Mailgun sender, which I think uses the API. And that kind of makes sense as to the API that we, the API error that we got back. So I'm thinking that, let's see if we need to set any base URLs here. Mailgun sender takes a domain name, which is our sandbox, our API key, and the region's USA, which should be fine. I may be using the wrong API key. So that's something to check. So let's also look at our Fluent email and see what else. Sends mail via the REST API, which is okay. So that's what we did. And that's what we did. I don't see any tests or any samples in here. All right, so there's nothing really to gain from that. A complete guide. All right, well, this is interesting. From to send async. How to use dependency injection. We can get to that. Template rendering. Anything on Mailgun here? SMTP. Mailgun. Here we go. So let's see. New email, subject to body tag, send async. So let me see if I'm using the wrong API key. So I'm gonna go and look in my manage user secrets. I'm not gonna show you this part. I'm just gonna verify what I have. So one thing I do see here is that my sandbox ends in mailgun.org. And while I was pasting in my API key, I just verified that, and I have a question mark at the end here, which would probably mess that up. So let's take that out and try this again. Where is my... Here it is. All right, let's go back. Let me, again, delete. Oops. There should be a way to re-execute. There we go. Let's delete line 10 this time. And I just hit delete there after highlighting. All right, and we're going to do this again. And then password 123, and we'll click sign up. We will let it go here. We know this works, so I'm not even going to step in and show you SQL. This time I will step in here. Let's set our sender, our default, and we know everything looks good. Let's go ahead and send async. Let's look at our response. Again, an error, but this time we have some kind of a message. So mail blah 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 mailgun.org is not allowed to send. Sandbox subdomains are for test purposes only. Add your own domain or add the address to the authorized recipients in the account settings. Okay, so that's what we want. We want to add the address to the authorized recipients in account settings. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to change Cartman we're going to change this email because I don't want it getting delivered to someplace else, and I want to know that only we're going to be looking at this mailbox. So I'm going to make this a sharklasers.com. So we got Cartman, and then I put Savage, and then at sharklasers.com. So what we want to do is we want to make this an authorized receiver in our sandbox. So let's go back to our dashboard. Let's go to probably inside here, and then is there a... where would we do this? Domains? It said something about adding allowed receiving. No. Oh, here it is. Authorized recipients. So do I just put that email? Oops. Let's go back to our API. I'm going to grab that email and I'm going to put it in there. Save recipient. Ah, cool. All right. So now that it's allowed, let's try our code again and see what happens. Let me let this go. And let's go back here. Let's go clear out number 12, delete. And this is kind of how it goes. I mean, you got to keep playing with things until you get them working. Password 123, sign up, go. Step in here, and then let's see what it says now. Still an error. It's not allowed to send or for test purposes only. Well, I already did that. Add the address to the authorized recipients. Maybe it takes a minute. Does that say unverified? Do I have to verify it? Receiving verifications. No, I don't need that. Oh, we got some stuff in our logs now. Rejected. Oop. Rejected. Let's see. Well, there's our email. All right. And so the easiest way to do this is to just grab the first part. We're going to set that. And then there it is. There's the email. So this came from Mailgun. Thank you for signing up. Your temporary email address from your disposable email address has been created. You can change this. Oh, that's just my shark lasers. Maybe back to inbox. Okay, here we go. Here's my Mailgun. So Mailgun, I agree. I'm going to click that. Do you want to confirm? Yes. Success. Okay, so now I think if we do it, we won't get rejected. I just had to verify that temporary address that we added in Mailgun. So everybody's got these systems. All right, so we're running our API. Let's go back and again delete. And let's go back here. And let's grab our email address that we verified now. And again, this is just because it's a test sandbox account. You normally obviously wouldn't have to verify everyone's email with Mailgun. Sign up. And let's look at the response. No error. Message ID. It gives me back a message ID. So the successful is true. So it looks like it sent the email. Let's go look in our Shark lasers. So now we get the redirect in our UI that says a verification email was sent. So if we go into our Shark lasers inbox, next update in 3 seconds, let's see if it actually gets delivered. Well, we can also look at our logs here. So it got the accepted. That was their verification email. We did not receive our email. Again, because it's a sandbox account, I'm going to try it one more time. I have had instances where things aren't provisioned instantly on test accounts. It doesn't happen usually on live accounts, so let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. We can also make sure that our email is the right one. It is. Oh. And it again says success. So first thing I want to do is check my log here. All right, it looks like I have 2 accepteds now. And let's refresh here just in case, even though it says it's checking. For some reason this page isn't refreshing. I wonder if it's because this guy's running. Sometimes it single threads the browser. Yeah, it looks like something got messed up here. I'm not able to do anything here. So I'm gonna copy this again. And I'm just gonna go to a new incognito. And it looks like either Shark Lasers is down or I've lost my internet. Internet's up. It looks like Shark Lasers actually is inaccessible. So, oh, wait, it just came back. Let's try that. Set. Oh, that's interesting. I deleted the 2 emails that were in there, and now I see my verify emails. So apparently Shark Lasers is having some trouble today, but at least we got our link. And it does not do HTML email, but it is allowing the link to be there. So what we need to do now, first we need to make sure that the GUID 28A that ends in DC9 is the one that's in the database. So let's just verify that. 28A, DC9. Okay, so we're good. So now what we want to do is we got the new user sign up and we have sent our email. I'm going to wrap that up right here, and I'm going to continue recording all of these in a row, and we'll get them all edited and put out quickly in succession. I'll try and record it as one big piece, but then, release them as smaller chunks in episodes. So I hope you are following along, and if you're ready to keep going, look for that next video, which it could be coming up really quickly. And if not, I will see you later online.